+1 Defense Systems, I received a request from one of our subscribers online asking if we could show a video that had Capoeira and how Capoeira could be used in other martial arts systems. So as soon as I got that request, which I love the requests, by all reason, please give them, it's fun to do. We're here with Nick Adler. He's far better at Capoeira than I am, and he also trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a high school wrestling coach, and he trains in Krav Maga. So what better guy to kind of show us where we can go with the Krav Maga and Capoeira and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all that type of stuff than Nick Adler. So Nick, I'll leave that at you, and if you could kind of tell us what your thoughts are on using Capoeira.
Yeah, so guys, a lot of times Capoeira gets this rap of being more of a dance and a martial art, which is not the case. You see a lot of martial artists use it. If not, doing their full Jenga and doing those motions, you see a lot of the kicks, a lot of the takedowns, a lot of the sweeps, a lot of the transitions and evasive movements translated to other martial arts. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is going to be one of the fundamental kicks in Capoeira, which is the meia lua de capasso. It's the kick, if you don't know it by that name, people call it the Capoeira kick a lot of times. Some people call it a back spinning heel kick. Some people call it a moon kick. You might have heard it with a bunch of different names, but it's one that when you see it, it's unmistakably Capoeira. You don't usually see it in the other martial arts. So for this kick, I'm not going to do that in my Jingo when I demonstrate it translating, but just so you see it in the traditional Capoeira, if I'm going to be doing my meia lua de capasso, I'm stepping in my base and I'm lining up with my partner so I'm at a perpendicular. From there, I'm reaching between my legs and my leg is coming around and hitting with the heel. For this one, we're going to do it a little differently today. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be standing in my traditional fighting stance, your passive tactical stance, if you're doing the Krav Maga, or if you're an MMA fighter, just your regular fighting stance. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be replacing my back foot with the opposite hand, and that back foot is actually going to be what's coming around and making contact with the opponent, with the heel. So if I'm standing here, and I throw my hand down, so you can see there's a lot of speed, there's a lot of power behind that kick. You're throwing your body weight into it. So one more time, if I'm in my stance, I replace my back foot and the leg comes around. So I'm here, and I should be landing right how I started, back in that same staggered stance. So I'm going to show you two quick techniques how to incorporate this into your stand-up game. So if I can bring Sensei back out here. So the two techniques I'm going to show, it's going to show the kick from both sides. So the first one's going to be kicking with your lead leg. The second one is going to be kicking with your rear leg. So if I'm standing here and he starts getting a little close to me, this kick isn't that practical if they're super close, because I'm going to be hitting more with the leg and with the thigh than the heel. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push him back a little bit just with my front teeth. And instead of landing forward like I did, I'm actually going to step it back. So I'm going to kick, I'm going to step back, and from here, I reach to my back foot, and I would kick. So one more time, a little quicker. I'm here, and kick, and I throw my meia lua. Now the other one I'm going to do is if you have an opponent who likes to lean back from punches a little more, so I'm standing and I can't really reach him, that's okay, because my leg has a lot more range, especially when I'm using my whole body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my jab, I'm going to throw my cross, and as my cross comes back, my lead hand is going to replace that back foot. And I land back in my regular stance. So one more time, here, 1, 2, and I land.
Nice. And I think there's a very commonly used, I call it the Beijing floor, because that's the way I heard it before, but you were telling me right before we were shooting that you were in an argument with someone who was saying that's a Muay Thai move and not a Capoeira move. So I think that's also a very handy move that can be crossovers. Can you show us, I believe I call it the Beijing floor, what have you heard of that?
Different groups call it different names, so it's either Beijing floor, it's ao batido, ao chibico, Muay Thai they call it a cartwheel kick. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm going to the ground like I'm going to do a cartwheel. My same side hand hits the ground, my opposite foot comes up for the kick, and my back leg scissors back to balance me. So I'm here, and one more time, I'm here, and I'm kicking with myself.
Excellent. And then in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, one of the common things where we have the AU, which is the cartwheel, you see that cartwheel guard pass, from the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu standpoint. Did you want to show us that too?
Sure.
All right. So if I'm down here and I'm kind of in an open guard position, one of the ways you can pass go ahead and show us that cartwheel for our fans.
So I'm going to cartwheel over and come to a north-south position on top here.
I like it. All right, so a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a little bit of Muay Thai, crossing over into the MMA realm as well. So Capoeira can be a very fun system. And Nick, I thank you very much for joining us today for our tip of the week.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.